Welcome to ViviTalks. I'm Vivienne Aerts. Join me in celebrating 100 talented female musicians from my last album, type of thing. Empowering female cacao farmers in Congo's Virunga State Park and restoring the rainforest. Delve into the musical journeys, creative processes, and unique perspectives of these talented women that were involved in the making of this album. Merel Brusselers is a singer, teacher, and entrepreneur from the Netherlands. After earning her bachelor's degree in music education at Fontys Conservatory and doing a master's in musical leadership at the Conservatory of Amsterdam, she discovered her passion for songwriting and created her alter ego, Joanne Bird. Under this name, she crafts indie and Americana folk music with a touch of jazz, drawing much of her inspiration from her travels to the United States, which is vividly reflected in her work. In addition to performing, Merel teaches courses such as songwriting and cultural entrepreneurship at her alma mater, Fontys Academy in the Arts in Tilburg, the Netherlands. Listen to our conversation as we talk about her long travels through the US, bringing her new American band to the Netherlands, and her approach to education. Welcome, Merel, to my official ViviTalks podcast. It's so great to have you here. I'm super excited to talk to you. We're both Dutch, so it's a little funny that we're doing this in English, but I understand that people need to listen from wherever they are, and there's not a lot of English American people that speak Dutch, so we'll do it in English today. So first, for starters, I'd love to learn a little bit about your background. Where are you from? What do you do? What are you?
Yeah. So my name is Merel. It's actually a Dutch name for a blackbird. The translation is blackbird, and so that's why my artist name became Joanne Bird, because Joanne is my middle name, and Bird from Merel. And I'm a musician, songwriter, and teacher. And I grew up in a small town in the south of the Netherlands, and studied.
What's it called?
It's called Valkenswaard.
Valkenswaard. That's
really
all the way
near
to the south.
Yeah, it really is. It's like a few minutes from Belgium, actually. So I'm right on the border, and my parents still live there as well. And actually, that town really formed my musical background at first, because my high school organized all these kinds of events where musicians could do their thing, and lots of people from that high school actually went into music afterwards. So they do something very well over there. So it started all in that town. I started with piano playing when I was 5, a classical piano, and started singing quite soon. Went to Fontys Academy of the Arts in Tilburg. It's also in the south of the Netherlands. Did a Bachelor of Music Education there. And then I did my Master's of Music in Amsterdam at the Conservatory. And there I focused mostly on songwriting and on societal impact of music. And now we're 2 years, 1.5 years later, after I graduated from my Master's. Yeah.
Wow. And you currently work in a school, right?
Yeah. So I am there actually right now. I had some sessions I did with students today. So I teach at the school where I studied my bachelor's. Right at it's awesome. It's like the best place possible where I could work. I teach students who want to become music teachers, and I teach lessons around songwriting and cultural entrepreneurship, and also research on music within the societal context. So it's amazing to work with students who are actually super passionate about music and eager to learn. And so I couldn't wish for a better place to teach, actually. Yeah.
That's amazing. And in what ways is this conservatory lining up with your beliefs and the things you want to pass on?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think the fact that we focus a lot on music as a like not as a purpose, but as a sort of middle, like a yeah,
A
you
way to
yeah, a way to make impact instead of
uh,
that the product is the goal. I think that's what
as a means.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm fascinated about, because it's not always about the product. It's about the whole process you go through.
Mm.
And actually I think that process is often even more important than the product. Especially for students who are still like in their development. And so that's a big like goal in here, to focus on that, focus on the process, focus on like a learning community, so they all do it together as a community. They do lots of research, societal research, and it's in a building with 10 different kinds of arts studies. So we have the dance performance here, we have circus, we have theater, musical, the rock academy, art, like
Visual art.
yeah, visual arts. So this is like the whole community of people within the arts, and I think that inspires each other as well. There are some projects within the conservatory or within the building that like puts all the students of all those studies together to make art, and I think that's very special about this place.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember you were talking about a system where they, at the end of the semester, they don't have a test, or
No,
they sort of have to prove that they made a journey of some sort. Can you talk a little
exactly.
bit about that?
Yeah,
I thought that was
that's I
fascinating.
think super strong about the studies where I teach, at least. So they don't get any grades, never. They
No
have
grades even.
no grades. No, no, that's not. And since I think this is the 5th year that we're doing that.
How does it work?
So we have like 3 semesters in a year, and every semester is focused on a specific target group. So for instance, let's say the first years students are now focusing on primary education. So children in primary education, they do an internship there, they make lessons, materials for that specific target group. They write songs for children in primary education. So every session they have theory, education, like that, the skills to educate, but also your artistic skills are focused around that target group. And every semester has a different target group. So you have eventually like high school education, but you also have not inside a school, but outside a school, like choirs or orchestras or music schools. That's also a target group, and societal target group is one. And at some point they have to choose their own. So what kind of thing they are fascinated about, they can go into that further. But the fact is that you, as a student, have to prove the stuff you did with that target group. So you have some guidelines, you have some materials we like kind of request to get, but you have like reflection and evaluations is like the most important thing. So everything students are experiencing, they have to put it into words. It can be written, it can also be a video or a podcast or whatever they want, but they have to make it clear for us as teachers what they learned, and that's how we not grade them, but
Evaluate them.
assess them. Yeah.
Huh.
So then they get like they it's not like they get a 5 or a 10 or whatever for their portfolio. They just get, okay, you accomplished it or you didn't, and you have to do this and this and this to get there.
Make up for it.
Yeah.
If you didn't. Huh.
Yeah. And all this happens in this learning community where they ask. Feedback is actually the most important thing, asking teachers, but also asking your peers
Wow.
for feedback. Yeah. So I think we're kind of ahead in that way within education right now, in this structure. I think lots of other conservatories are kind of slowly forming to this idea. So that's cool.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think the result might be that they work harder because they are taking on this journey themselves and they're leading each other in the
Yeah.
exploration, maybe.
Yeah, it depends on your personality as well, because some of the students really come from high school and they're so used to this structure of a class, and you get a grade for that class, and that's it. You know, you study this hard, so you know what you can expect in terms of
Right.
in your grade. But this is not how it works anymore here. So it's kind of an adjustment for some. But eventually, I think you grow much easier, you develop much easier, and you do it
Yeah.
together. So that's strong. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I love to switch gears a little bit. I want to
Yeah.
hear about you as a musician. And first, let's start off with, can you describe, you write a lot of music and I really love them. All these songs, they're like earworms. They stick in my
That's
ear
good.
and they're like
Yeah.
endless repetitions of them. It's very catchy. So can you describe your creative process and how you approach writing and composing?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So I had a hard time actually getting into the songwriter's mindset for, well, actually, we did a class, how many years ago? Maybe 3 years, 2 years? I don't
Well, it
know.
must have been 2017.
No,
No?
I think it was later on. I think it was during COVID, actually.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I was in New York City for my master's, and I did a
Right.
class with you. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think it was 2021 or something.
19, 20. Oh, after. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like if one of the lockdowns, I think. And I was really stuck because I just started my master's, and I really wanted to write my own music. It was like my main
Mm.
goal, and I couldn't get into this mindset. I remember talking to you, and I this class was super interesting, of course, and but we ended up talking mostly about research and about societal research. I remember, and that was okay. Maybe that should be my purpose, and that should be my lifestyle to because I also love it, of course. But I ended up eventually during the masters getting more and more into this mindset of writing, and what actually really helped me is to stop using my piano and start playing guitar. And it was the biggest eye opener.
You never played the guitar before?
No, no, I started
Wow.
playing when I finished my bachelor. So my first lessons were at my master's. And
Fantastic.
yeah, I kind of needed that. I think I needed a new sound, a new instrument, a new way of exploring and experimenting. Because I was always stuck at the piano because I knew that instrument so well, and then I exactly know what kind of progression I was playing,
Yeah.
and I immediately was reflective on that in a negative way. So, no, this is not interesting what I'm playing, you know. Oh, this is not cool, or and I needed that to go away to open myself up for
Right. To be
just
surprised with
writing.
something that you didn't expect. Yeah.
Yeah, and also to like just write from emotion, write from lyric, and so that's the first songs on guitar were awful. Like they were just ideas, and now I listen back to them, I was okay, interesting. That was for sure I needed that I needed to go through all those little ideas to end up. And now my guitar is my main instrument. Actually, I play more than the piano. Um, I still love the piano. I love classical piano. I love everything about it. I love playing with pianists when I play the acoustic guitar. But I think my music and the sound of an acoustic guitar, like the vulnerability of the sound and the open chords, the like jazzy chords that are quite direct on piano and more open on guitar, that kind of fits the way I write.
Yeah.
So yeah, and now it's kind of, I call it indie and Americana folk with a touch of jazz. That's what came out of that. So yeah, I just recorded my third EP, and so it happens all quite fast. But I love writing, I love recording, and so I'm now in that mindset, and I don't want to get out of it. So I keep trying. Yeah,
That's so great. At Berkeley during my classes, I have students play a different instrument than what they're used to. And the purpose of that is that it takes out the responsibility, because all of a sudden they are a piano player and now they're sitting in front of drums and they have no clue. So no responsibility anymore. And that really
yeah,
frees them up. And then experience they can take back to their original instrument.
that's
A couple of
amazing.
weeks
Yeah,
ago there was this flute player and she's like behind the drums, and she described exactly that same feeling, like, wow, I was just doing it, but I'm not a drummer, how can I, right? Or being very confused about it. But that's
yeah,
the reality of like wearing a hat of the
right.
responsibility of this instrument now, because
That's
you
quite
want to
funny.
care
Yeah,
about it, right?
exactly. And you would think it would, like, that people feel too much it's out of their comfort zone, but maybe it gets them into the zone of artistic freedom that
Right,
they wouldn't find
exploration.
any other way. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
2-year-old doesn't really care about
exactly.
supposed to do it. Yeah.
Right.
So do you sit down with the guitar and you just doodle around and then you write some lyrics, or you have a voice memo all day, or you have a scribble, or how does it work? Is it
Yeah.
like little bits and pieces, or you sit down and this is what you do now?
So no, sitting down for me, not working. It's not okay, now I'm gonna write a song and it's gonna be fantastic. That's just no, not yet, maybe someday. I'm constantly in this kind of mindset I really wanted to get into. So what I teach also my students is to smell, to hear, to feel everything in your daily routine. Because sometimes something triggers you unexpectedly, and that can form into the most beautiful lyric. So I try to just be more open, I think, more vulnerable to my feelings, my connections, conversations I have, and it's mostly starts with lyrics. So often I notice, oh, okay, so this is doing something to me. I feel something strongly, and there's one word or one sentence that really, that's really present, and that's then my like main feeling, my main, often it will become a sentence in the lyric. So and then I think I have like a chorus or a verse, like one kind of direction of the song, and then I'd like to take my instrument on that in that specific moment in the process. Then I really have a sort of feeling of what I want the song to feel, and then I can find the right chords, the right rhythm, the right whatever fits with that. I think 2 or 3 songs I maybe started on guitar because I just really liked some progression or like some melody, but it often starts with lyric, melody, and then I add
Yeah,
something
you just
to that.
hum it and then you sing it and then you add
Exactly.
to
So
that.
yeah, my voice recorder is like
On.
so much so much ideas, and some of them turn into something, and maybe in a few years I'll listen back and think, hey, that was actually kind of interesting, maybe I can do something with it now. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny how it
Amazing.
works for everyone differently, actually, because I don't know how it's for you, but I know lots of different ways of people that really have to start at their instrument, or have to start at lyric. Yeah, everyone has their own way.
A process. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. Yeah. I love to learn a little bit. You have this enormous passion for Americana country type of music. And I remember you um traveled with a backpack for months just to discover all the things that you saw on television as or wherever you found it, right? And you
Yeah,
just went and experienced it yourself. How was that? Or tell me a
yeah.
little bit about that passion and the exploration of it.
yeah, there's something with the US that always it. I don't know. It does something to me. I think it started when I was doing my bachelor's. I studied in New York City. I did my minor, and then I came back a few years later. Did some parts of my master's there, and I don't know. It was only New York City then, but that energy of that city and just the whole vibe. I don't know. I get lots of inspiration there. I get lots of good connections and just there's something in the air, I think, when you're there. And I wanted to explore that feeling a little bit further. So there was this point in my life where I was kind of in a turning point. So I was talking to my mother and she asked me like, okay, what's the really a dream of yours? What do you really want to do? And I said, yeah, I wish I could travel like the US, the whole of the US, every big music place, maybe for a month, maybe for 2 months. And I ended up going for 5 months last year. And well, my mom actually, I said that and was like maybe a joke from, nah, that's not gonna be possible to do that. And she's like, no, you can try. And on my birthday that year, I got this big map of the US, and I just started pinpointing like every place I wanted to go and how I could travel, because the US is not really like a backpackers country. It's not. There's not a lot of hostels. There's not a lot of easy ways to get from place to place. So sometimes I was just in a train for 3 days to get from one city to another. But I ended up doing that when I graduated my master's last year. So I left the Netherlands in July and I came back in December. And I visited 22 states. And I think almost every big music city there is. And the main purpose was to really, just wanted to delve into that musical history of all those important places that like formed so many important genres in music, important musicians, important like life moments. And I wanted to get inspired to just write a lot. So I flew to Chicago at the start and I bought like this little guitar there, a little Martin. So it's like a travel guitar, and that I took with me. And I didn't expect it, but I ended up like playing a lot at like open mics, and open mic, I met someone, they asked, oh, do you want to come play there in a few days? And then I ended up even recording an EP with musicians I met along the way. So it was just everything and more I could have ever imagined of that trip and that idea and the dream I had, and it turned into something much more. So yeah, that was something else.
Yeah, amazing. And your new album or EP is recently out, right?
Yeah, so that one is recently out. I recorded that in Ashbury Park, New Jersey, and I brought those musicians back to the Netherlands actually last March, and so I met like the drummer in Nashville, bass player also in Nashville, the guitar player in New Jersey, and a pianist in Boston when I was at Berkeley doing a class with you. So she was studying at Berkeley as well. She just graduated. And some of them didn't even know each other. Some of them did. But I just kind of musically and personally connected. And I thought, okay, this is something cool. I'm going to do a tour with them in the Netherlands. So that's what we did last March. And then we recorded another EP last summer with this group, and again in Ashbury Park. And now I'm finishing that up. So I think it gets mastered today. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
That's so exciting. So yeah, you're on the road as well, combining it with all the teaching you do during the semester.
Yeah.
Spring and fall. There's no teaching in the summer, right? You're free to go.
No, exactly. So we have like a 5-6 week summer break. So that's why I could go last summer. But still my job and my bosses are really flexible. So it's amazing how they allow me to do my thing, and they see it as a way that I will become a better teacher as well. So I'm really grateful for the fact that if I want to do something like that, they support me in any way they can.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Yeah.
So tell me a bit about performances. How do you experience that? You just jump on, do you prepare yourself, and then how do you communicate with your audience, or you don't really think about it, or what's performance mean to you?
Yeah, that's interesting because before I performed with my own music, like all those years, like say within 15 years old and 23 years old, I was always really nervous, like really nervous. Mostly when I had to do something out of my head, like the lyric, I had to do it by heart.
Remember?
Yeah. Oh man, and I never forgot, but I always was scared. I'm like, oh, I put so much pressure on that performance. And since I perform with my own music, I got this kind of safety. I feel this safety. I feel this ownership of the music, I think, which really allows me to just enjoy telling my story instead of feeling the pressure of having to perform and having to put on my best self. And I really like like to take people on that journey of my stories, and I feel like my shows are like one small travel they go through with me, and I tell stories about how I wrote them, where I wrote them, but in the hope that people can relate, of course. So I want to put it from my perspective, but also in others' perspectives. And I really, now it feels so much like that I'm myself on stage instead of trying to be something I'm not. And I really enjoy that. It's actually been a cool ride to experience that for the first time with making music.
And then do you change bands? So you perform solo, but sometimes there's a band with you, you change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I love this bringing people together with their music. And I know so many great musicians, so I want to keep playing with all of them as much as possible and experiencing new things, because I really think every musician brings their own flavor to the songs. So last week I played for the first time with a friend of mine. I sang with him like in many different bands, and we studied together, so we made music a lot, but this was the first time he came with me for a duo set. So he played the second guitar, and my songs got this whole new arrangement, and I really love that to explore that. So I play solo. I play duo, so with a pianist or an extra guitarist, and I'm now like kind of see how I can turn it into like a trio version, so with a double bass, adding a double bass with it, and then I have the band version. So, and every
From
show
the
I think
album,
yeah, every show is super different because of that, because my band shows the arrangements are it's still the same song, but it's almost a different song sometimes.
right.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's nice too. I really like that. That's how I work too. I work with all these different
Right.
musicians, and then depending on who's playing, and my original songs are gonna sound different. And that's just how it
Right.
is.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved your show with the harpist. I think it was in September.
Yeah,
It was
Tara
beautiful.
Minton. Oh, it was
It
so
was,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, she's
it was
awesome.
actually so cool to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's switch gears a little bit. The reason that you're on this podcast officially is because you're on my album with all these women, these gazillion
Yeah.
women that I was able to bring all together. I let's yeah. I love to I have to ask, have you faced any stereotypes or biases being a woman in music, and how do you challenge or overcome them?
Yeah, it's a good question. An interesting one for sure, and an important one. I have to be honest, I think I'm very lucky overall within the community I get to work in and the people I get to work with. because I'm very well aware it can be different. So I'm not experiencing like specific things that I feel left out in or treated differently in. But I do notice, like in the musical world, I think I even see it like with playing with bands. It's more common to have for instance a man on drums or whatever, to ask a male on drums or on guitar or on, and I think that's still in the front of your head, like, okay, that's the options, but still there's lots of other options that are often not even considered because of stereotyping, and also in the management side of music, I have a feeling that it's still a lot owned by male, and I don't know if there's I don't know that much about it, but if there's lots of room for females, I hope it
Doing
will.
the music business part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I know, with who I talk with, like with booking shows or like labels, and I don't know if I have talked to any woman in that whole music business aspect so far.
Yeah.
But
Well, I know a
maybe,
few
yeah,
female publicists, but it's pretty
yeah,
rare.
I think
So,
it is, and maybe
and
it's
I mean, there's a gazillion of them, but somehow they don't bubble up.
yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, it can be about maybe like a direction you choose in. Maybe there is less female that are interested in music business, but
I don't think so.
no, no.
Yeah.
No, I think there should be more respect and more, well, maybe opportunities in that way
Yeah,
for women to
diversity
also
in
show
the
their
field.
entrepreneur side, because I
Yeah.
think we're as strong in that, but it's more common for men to be in that kind of position, I think. So yeah, I hope during like my classes of entrepreneurship here, I can do a little of that to make them all entrepreneurs instead of only a small part.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. What advice would you give to aspiring women who are just starting out their journey? Or men?
I think what I experience the most is how important making connections is. So building your network, and network sounds maybe a bit like too, I don't know, not emotional enough, but I don't mean it like that. I really mean connecting with people and believing in that you will find the right group of people around you that will contribute to your artistical process and also to your entrepreneurship. Because you're gonna need them, you can't do it all by yourself. I get so much inspiration from people around me, things that I couldn't even think of myself or couldn't even like make true myself. But I think we can learn so much from each other, and not using each other, but using each other. Is we should all use each other's strengths and to help
Share.
your own product process to make that even better. So that's my main thing. And besides that, let's just try other instruments. I think if you really wanted to find your voice and I'm a bit stuck in that process, find an instrument that you don't know or that you like, or go sit with someone who plays that instrument if you feel like, okay, I'm maybe not able enough to play that yet. Just do a writing session with someone who plays the harp, for instance, or what, something like that can inspire you on so many levels and can open up a whole new world.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to keep doing that. And that has also to do with forming connections and building your network.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. How do you navigate the balance between staying true to your artistic vision and maybe meeting commercial expectations? Oh, I have to work, pay my rent, just grow a certain direction because then I'm gonna be right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's maybe one of the hardest balances to find, because I think I'm quite eager to do all those different kinds of stuff, and I get an opportunity, okay, let's go. And then we end up like it's not cheap to do stuff, especially at the beginning of your career. Like, it's not that I earn that much money out of my own music at the moment. I really need the teaching job, and I like, of course, I like the balance right now, but I couldn't only make music at the moment. Sorry, what was the question again?
Yeah, the balance. And you
Yeah.
might even pay for your peers
Oh,
to
yeah.
play, right? So, and you pay for the recording studio and
Yeah. So so it's all like at the moment mostly investing. And I'm very lucky. Well, I live with my parents at the moment, just because I can save money because of that, and I
well,
can
also
invest.
you gave up your place when you started traveling for that long,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, true. Yeah, I gave up the place I lived, and I could have gone back to a place when I got back, but I don't know. There's so many dreams that I feel like are in reach, but I have to invest a little bit. So it makes much more sense for me to use that money for another thing than rent. So yeah, so I tried. It's hard, and luckily we still have kinds of different ways of funding in the Netherlands. I think that's also different with the US. So there is some funding. I got some funding for this new EP, and if I tour, I can request a funding. But it's not always happening, of course. So it's always kind of hard to have to wait on the answer if you get the funding, yes or no, and you already start making your plans. And yeah. So it's a lot of investing, and I think making just choices that feel right, and have to leave some other stuff for now, for what it is, to make my dreams come true. I think that's what I'm trying.
So what's coming up? What are you excited about? I mean, you already explained a little
Yeah.
bit, but
So
where do you see yourself in 10 years? Which is a dumb question, right? But
no, I do
what's
have
coming
some.
up?
What's coming up is like so the release of this new EP, I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm gonna have to create like artwork and do photo shoots for that, and
then
I'm thinking
probably somewhere in the spring, right?
yeah, I'm releasing, I hope, hopefully like March, April.
Bringing
And
the band again to the Netherlands.
yeah, in October next year. So
Okay.
October 2025, my US band will come to the Netherlands again for, I think, 3 weeks. And I'm already like, we're in the middle of booking that. I just signed a booking deal for the Benelux, so that's Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg. Luxembourg.
So
I don't know how you
you
say
are being helped.
Exactly, and that's good. They help me with that tour, and they are helping me with some shows in the meantime. So that's I'm looking forward to see what comes up through that connection, through that collaboration.
Yeah.
And hopefully time to travel in the meantime as well. But I always want to combine travel with music somehow. So I'm gonna keep trying to search for ways to do that. And if you have to say, like, in 10 years, I hope to be at this point that I really can travel and make music full time. Yeah. That would be amazing to just get on the road and meet people and get to share my story with people and hopefully inspire them. And I always want to keep coaching people and keep helping them in their own artistic process. So I will always find a way to keep doing that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing
Thank
your
you.
story. It's been a pleasure talking to you as always. And I'll tell everybody, read the description, find all the websites and the links, and follow wherever you can follow.
Yes.
And Thank you
Cool.
so much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
As I conclude this episode of ViviTalks, I want to express my sincere gratitude for joining me in this musical journey. I hope you enjoyed exploring the stories and experiences of the incredible female musicians on my album. To stay updated on our latest episodes, subscribe to ViviTalks on your favorite podcast platform. Connect with me on social media through Vivienne, and please check out my album Type of Thing, a musical exchange featuring 100 female musicians to empower female cacao farmers of Virunga State Park in Congo. It's about more than just music. It's about making a positive impact in the world. Your support is part of that journey, so thank you once again for tuning in. Until next time, keep celebrating the power of music, and let's continue to amplify the voices of remarkable women in the industry. Stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep the music flowing. With love and gratitude. Till soon.